working on a wood serving board. I think I kind of figure out how to do these. I'm still practicing, but I thought I would share. I did one a while back, like a sunset theme with some horses. This time I'm doing a blue one. But I want to show you the underside. So I tested this out with, I poured 6 boards last week and tested this out, and it works like a charm. Instead of putting tape or latex or glue or Vaseline or any of the hacks, I thought, I know resin doesn't stick to oil. And they always tell you, if you have a board that's been oiled, you need to sand it really good, get the oil off before you put the resin on, because the resin won't stick. And I thought, I wonder if that would work. So I just oiled around the edges of the board where I am putting resin on the opposite side. And it comes off like a dream. And I'll show you at the end of the video, you'll see when I take the drips off, it's amazing. You do have to be really careful not to get it anywhere that you want the resin to stick. So I was real careful not to get it on the edges. But yeah, so this works. It's pretty slick. With tape, it always seems to get under the tape because I use a lot of raw wood, and tape doesn't stick real good to raw wood. Latex, you cannot peel latex off of raw wood. It has to be painted or stained. Vaseline, I haven't tried on raw wood. I've tried on some other things, didn't have much luck. Glue, I've heard people use Elmer's glue. I think that would be the same issue as latex on raw wood. I don't think it would come off. So this oil works really good, but I'm sure everyone has their own method, but I'll show you how this works at the end. So I usually use about 2 to 2.5 ounces of resin on these boards. I only resin, a little past the shoulders. I leave the rest of this unresined so you can put food on it. So mixed up, about 2.5 ounces. I'm doing a blue theme today. So the colors I'm using, this is a Mrs. Colorberry Mica in deep blue. And then a Color Passion Pigment Paste in cobalt blue. So I thought a dark blue and a lighter blue would be pretty. Then I'm going to use a little bit of white and black. So the white is going to lighten some of the resin. It's also going to give some really cool lacing effects. And the black will darken where it mixes. So I'm using the Mix-All. And then of course you got to have glitter. So glitter makes it my favorite glitters of all. And this is Big Boy Hue, which is just a really pretty iridescent purpley blue multi-size glitter. So that's what I got going on here. So I'm going to mix up my colors. Just grab some sticks here. All right, so we'll start with the mica powder. So there's about 1 ounce in each of these larger cups. So using about this much of the mica. When you mix mica, you want to start slow because otherwise the powder will kind of puff everywhere. Okay, such a pretty blue. This has a little bit of a black undertone, which I love. Okay, next, the pigment paste. So you always want to stir up your pigment paste. I don't have much of this left. Always give it a good stir before you use it. And I want to make sure these are opaque. So I am using maybe a little bit more than I should. But I don't want any transparencies with these colors. Beautiful. All right, now my Mix-All. You always want to shake your Mix-All. I'm just going to put a couple of drops. This is not even 1/4 ounce of resin, so don't need a lot. Just want it to be opaque. Same thing with the black, just 2 drops. then the glitter. So this is a 1/2 ounce of resin, and I usually put 2 of these little spoonfuls in there. I try to go for a little bit of a thicker mix than I would normally do if I was just putting glitter in a coaster. Because I think that having a little bit of a thicker mix, more glitter, less resin, when I'm working on these boards, it helps it kind of lay down and really concentrates the glitter in a spot. All right, that's all done. So we're ready to pour. One thing to think about when you're pouring on boards, if you want your resin to stick to the sides, the vertical surfaces, you have to wait until your resin is really, really super thick. If you are taping off or, oiling the sides of your board and you just want it on the top, then you can use a thinner consistency resin because it doesn't matter. But it's not going to stick to the sides if your resin's too thin. So I like to just hit the cups real quick. You don't want to melt your cup, but I just like to hit them real quick, get the bubbles off the top. So this is actually a little bit too thin yet. This resin's about 15 minutes old. I'm using Moss Art Pro. So it's about 15 minutes old. It's still a little thin. So I'm actually going to wait. I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes and then I'm going to come back because this needs to be thicker so it sticks to the sides of the board. So I will be back in 10 minutes. Okay, so the resin is thickened up and now ready to pour. All right, so when I do this, I usually have 2 colors and then a white or a black to kind of accent the colors. And the colors will blend somewhat. So whatever colors you choose, you just want to make sure that they're going to blend nicely together. So you could use like what I'm doing with similar colors, or you could use very different colors, but again, it's all on how they're going to blend together. So I'm just going to leave a little bit in the cup because I want to be able to kind of smear it around on the sides. We'll see how much falls off once I start blowing it with a heat gun, but again, I probably need to do some of that by hand. So I just like to kind of put my colors on in little zigzags, alternating a little bit here and there, because this seems to help them with blending a little bit better. All right, now I'm just going to drizzle the white, and I'm just kind of drizzling just a thin stream. And then same thing with the black. So you can see how thick this is getting. It's really not even wanting to come off of my stick. And that's how you want it. You want it really thick where it's not just going to drip right off. All right, so now I'm just going to warm it up a little, popping some bubbles. And now I'm just going to move the white and black. I'm going to add a little more white. Okay. All right, so I'm going to just go around these edges. Just kind of pack some of this resin on the sides. I apologize if my head gets in front of the camera. Just trying to see what I'm doing here. Okay, and then I'll just go in with the other blue in a couple spots. All right, and I'm going to add just a little bit more of this darker blue. Just up in here. Maybe a little more here too. Whatever color you put on second tends to end up being the topmost color. So just keep that in mind, that the second color you put on is gonna take over a little bit more than the first color. All right, got it. I'm just gonna blow a little bit up. Spread that blue around. Okay, time for the glitter. So when I put the glitter on, I look for areas where it needs to be broken up a little bit. So right through here is just some solid blue. So I'm just going to spread that on, and I'm just letting it fall off the stick however it wants to. There's kind of a plain area here. And you can see how thick it is. And this is partly because the resin is thickening up, and partly because I mixed in a lot of glitter. So this is definitely thicker than the colored resin. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let's go let that set for a second and let the glitter kind of spread out just a bit. While that is happening, I'm just going to clean off my sticks. All right, so I want to spread this a little bit out just to make it a little more organic looking. Right now it just kind of looks like a blop of glitter, which is exactly what it is. But I just want to spread it just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to take my torch, and I'm going to go over it, and then you want to make sure you also torch the sides. And that's it. I'm going to wait about 5 minutes, and I'll torch it again just to make sure, you know, there's probably a few more bubbles that are going to rise up, especially where I put the glitter. But that's really all there is to it. So I will be back tomorrow to show you how I remove the drips from the back. Okay, it's the next day, and we are cured. So beautiful. I just love how the mix-all creates such gorgeous lacing effects. So pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to take the drips off the back. So let me put my camera up here. All right, so you have to be careful not to put anything on the resin. Like when I flip it over, making sure that the little cups are not on the resin. You want them on the wood, otherwise they'll leave a dent, because this has only been maybe not even quite 24 hours. All right, and then I just use a little paint scraper and my heat gun. And then I scrape towards the inside of the wood. I don't scrape this way. I scrape this way. And that just helps to prevent any kind of separation of the resin off of the wood. And you can see it just peels off like butter. So now all that's left to do is sand. There's little bits of rough edges, but just sand everything, and then I'm going to oil the whole board with the same Odie's oil. And I'm going to oil the front and the back. So otherwise, it's done. So as always, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.